IMF, you name it, because of the nature of my public policy jobs that I've held in the past. I have come to Canada. I migrated to Canada in 2010, primarily because I wanted a different environment, but not necessarily because I was dissatisfied with what I was doing, but I wanted to get this experience in first world sort of country. Although I've studied in England and lived in England for a while, but I wanted Canada. Surprisingly, when I was growing up in Jamaica, and I hear about people wanting to migrate to other countries in the world, I never wanted to go anywhere but Canada for some strange reason. I became a teacher of geography and I loved to teach world geography, and it was always about Canada. Not the motherland in England at all. I wanted to study in England to get an English education, and so that's what I committed myself to in terms of my advanced training and so on. But to live outside of the Caribbean permanently, it was Canada. And so I got the opportunity and I came here with my family in 2010 and hopefully to start life new in this country. I realized pretty early that it was very difficult to navigate, even though you're qualified, and even though you come with your money to reestablish yourself, and you've invited you to do so, but there's no adequate preparation for you. Negotiation or negotiating the environment to really reestablish oneself was difficult. I did have my first daughter. She studied in University of Western Ontario, so we were quite familiar with the Canadian environment. And my younger daughter, Roshan, she came at the time when she was 17 to start school at University of Toronto. So in between that time and now, I have been doing my international consultancy still to stay alive. And I also sought to do voluntary work here in Canada because I'm told that you need Canadian experience as well. So I started working as a strategic planner and program manager with Econ Mentoring, an organization which looks after, which has as its purpose mentoring of young adults and youth, particularly between the ages of 15 and 29. 15 to 23, but in other circumstances, we go up to 29. And it's an online as well as an on-site mentoring service. It's actually free. And the purpose, and Dr. Clark can probably elaborate more on that should you wish, is to ensure that we as well partner with the existing school system to be able to bring about an understanding within the youth of who they really are. Because this is one area that we find that the school is failing them, the community is failing them, especially our vulnerable and racialized youth in the Black community. And so our aim is to be able to provide that kind of support that our young people in the Black communities can understand who they are and that they're greater than what people say they are. Because at the end of the day, our view is if you are in a room with 10,000 people, they're going to think differently of who you are. And unless you know who you are and your history and can connect with that history, success is questionable. And so we take on this responsibility of trying to ensure that we have a voice and we give a voice to our youth and we empower them. And sometimes I don't even want to use the word empowerment because it is so, how should I say, overworked. Everybody's empowering everybody, but what does that really mean? What does it really mean? And we think that empowerment, to use a word, for want of a better one now, is all about making sure that those who we inspire, that those who we motivate understand that they are more than just the physical body. They are spiritual as well. And we need to help them to discover that, who they are, the real essence or their authentic self that is given to them by the Creator God, the divine planner of this universe. And that God Creator that unites all nations and all people into this human family. And so for us, we want to make sure that we are able to help our children, who are going to be the next generation and the next generation after that, to understand themselves from slavery to beyond. And so we find that this is a missing element in how we nurture our children. So that's Econ mentoring. And then I find myself as well helping the Black Business and Professional Association of Durham. One probably you know about it, the largest Black organization here. Impactful. And now we are working towards looking deeper as to how we can help vulnerable community of diaspora people in this country. Afro, Caribbean, Canadian people. People who were born here are first generation migrants, and even those first generation migrants themselves, how we can help them to help the younger generation to connect to their history and to connect to their God-given source of light and life and love, which is our God. So this is what we're doing, but for BDP, we are focusing more on how to grow them in terms of being business people, being entrepreneurs, the young ones, for example, how to earn a living and to create their own doors rather than wait on others to open a door for them, which sometimes don't exist. And so philosophically, we are talking about opening your own doors within the environment that says, you're vulnerable. So what? You have to go beyond this vulnerability, understand yourself, and seek to create that door so that you begin to create wealth that can pass on down through the generations of Black persons in this country. Our job is huge, but it will take many of us together to create this change that we must seek. It's not a matter of choice, of just being there. It is something that we have to do. It's a must that we make sure that our nations within the diaspora can survive in this country and elsewhere as well. So that is the big P. And then there are myriad of other little things. I do coaching. I'm a certified coach as well, life and family coach. And I do have my own other business that I'm re-establishing here as well. But I'm focusing now on what I call inspiring life solutions, where we bring families together. We speak to family restoration, interconnectedness, and intergenerational strength. Finding the purpose and how to work together. Because right now, with science and technology going leaps and bounds and discovering of new things, we need to be able to connect the generations to what I call the internet generation. How do we understand them? How do we nurture our young ones when we don't even ourselves know how to negotiate these new technologies that are available to us? On the swish of a little finger on a phone, they can be everywhere in the world and get access to everything. Even university education is going online now. That they have application on their smartphones that are sometimes even smarter than their generations before, their grandparents and their mothers. And I remember just talking, I remember being in a forum and a young woman was saying, oh, my son's teacher wants him to establish his email. Why? She wants to send him the assignment on email. But I don't think so. I don't want him to be on the net. This is somebody who she looked about in her 30s. I don't want him to be on the net. I expect that one of a grandmother in her 50s. But we do have these as well, that they are scared of understanding and meeting our children where they are and communications technology that allow them to exist and allow them to be alienated from us because many of us are not even prepared to learn how to do the basics, to be able to connect to them. So we have all these technological advancements and so on going on, and we are in the 21st century. And we are now in Generation Y. Is that Dr. Clark? We have Generation X are the baby boomers. And by the way, I am not a baby boomer. These are people who are over 50 and beyond. I am a Generation X.
They're boomers.
Yeah.
They're boomers.
Yeah. I do not fall in that category, actually. I am actually
millennial.
Millennial.
Okay.
Right? These are the now generation. And they're called the millennials. There's Generation X and Generation Y. And then these new ones that are living in the 21st century. And they're going to be